Professional wrestling is so dang fun. Hopefully, before you watch this video, you have seen last night's Smackdown, the Friday night Smackdown, where the Bloodline 2.0 tried to force an acknowledgement ceremony on Paul Heyman. And I'm not gonna lie, when they teased an acknowledgement ceremony, an official acknowledgement ceremony for Solo Sikoa at the end of the show as the main event, I was feeling a little bit skeptical. I wasn't really feeling super excited about it. It felt like it was going to be like, okay, here we go. We got cinema. Now, I know it's very common on YouTube to do full-on reviews of shows and stuff like that, and I told you guys I don't know if that's really my style. So rather than me try to tell you whether or not a show was good, we're going to discuss it together. If you're following me on Twitter, if you're subscribed on YouTube, you may have seen me make a post looking to get your guys' immediate initial thoughts after the show. If you want to be a part of a video like this going forward, either follow me on X, make sure you're subbed to the YouTube. I ask in different places and pull answers from different spots. So let's see what you guys thought about the Solo Sikoa acknowledgement ceremony. Shy Guy says, masterfully done. Heyman looks to have turned face to a massive reaction, and the Bloodline 2.0 looks like a force to be reckoned with. Stellar presentation throughout. So if somehow you didn't see it and you're not going to look at the highlights of it, Paul Heyman refused to acknowledge Solo as his tribal chief. Everybody else in Bloodline 2.0, one by one, walked up to Solo and acknowledged him, said they loved him, they acknowledged him. But when it was Paul Heyman's turn, this man is filled with tears, by the way. He does tell Solo that he loves him, but he says, I do not acknowledge you as my tribal chief. The pop that Heyman received, it felt so earned. It wasn't just quickly overnight. We have been watching Paul Heyman struggle with this internal battle for weeks now, since WrestleMania. And the WWE knew that they had something here. They knew that Paul Heyman had the crowd on their side. We've seen the Paul Heyman, free Paul Heyman signs. We've seen people pop for him. And what happens every time Solo is on the screen? We want Roman chants just start echoing through the arena. I'll say again, we want Roman chants happen when Solo is on screen, not Cody. Again, don't use this as a weapon that Cody sucks or something like that. This is about Solo. Speaking of which, Tyler says, phenomenal storytelling. The we want Roman chants just get louder and louder every week, and his return will be cinema. This is where I want to throw a prompt to you guys. I am super curious of where you think Roman falls into the story. I have my long-term prediction of how I think this might go, but I feel like that's for a different video. But I do want to know, throw it down in the comments. I'll be down there interacting with these ones because I would love to know. You don't have to give me a full script. If you want to, you can. I usually read all these comments while I'm having lunch, and I love just seeing it. All you guys have these like the creative long-term booking. But just tell me where you think Roman fits into this. Where do you think Roman comes back? And tell me why it's SummerSlam, because I have SummerSlam tickets and I really want it to happen when I'm there. But seriously, where do you think Roman Reigns falls into this? Where would he make some sort of a return? And how? What sort of PLE? Where do you think it fits in the story? I am so curious. By the way, if you're not already on the Patreon, I highly suggest you take a look at it. There's a free tier and a paid tier, so you can check out the free stuff and see if the paid stuff might be for you. The link will be down below, but back to the video. In my opinion, it was mid. I still can't take the new bloodline besides Jacob seriously when the leader lost almost 40 matches in a row. One of them is a mid wrestler, and the other guy just stands there. The only reason I thought it was decent was Heyman taking some bumps. I don't know what to say to that. I guess I'm just really surprised with how much that whole segment moved me and got me excited. I struggle to picture somebody sitting there watching that segment and going, whatever, it's mid. Like, you not taking the new bloodline, like, that's like saying I don't like Thanos, or that's like saying you don't like a villain that is written to be unlikable. Like, this is how you're supposed to feel. You are supposed to not like the new bloodline. You're supposed to see them as an imposter. Like, does that make sense? If they truly presented the whole bloodline as a genuine replacement of the bloodline, they wouldn't be doing their jobs correctly writing this story, in my opinion. We as the viewer are supposed to be seeing this as, no, that's not the bloodline. Roman Reigns is the bloodline. So saying that it's mid because they're making you feel exactly how you're supposed to about the bloodline, I guess that's just strange to me, but you know, everyone's got an opinion. That's fine. John says Paul has turned into such a babyface this past month, and this fully completed that turn for him. The way Solo made everybody acknowledge him, setting up the bloodline to look at Paul menacingly like, you better say you acknowledge Solo or you know what we can do, was perfect. I agree. The way they all did it first. If this was just a Paul Heyman situation and he was going to be the only one acknowledging him, I don't think it would have hit as hard. I really do feel like the anticipation, because we as the viewer knew it was coming. We knew it was going to go one by one, and we saw Paul sitting off to the side, leaning on the ropes, and you could see that he was dreading knowing what was coming next. So when he turned to Paul Heyman, everybody's rooting for him to say Roman Reigns or I don't acknowledge you, or just to run away or something. And they paid it off so well, because they even did. And then when they brought out the is it the Ulufala? I can't, if I say it wrong, I'm sorry, but it's the red necklace thing that Roman was always wearing. When they pulled that out and really put the pressure on Paul, you could almost say that that would be the moment that broke him and make him say, nope, that's too far. It's one thing to throw a finger up. It's one thing to say, I acknowledge you. I'm not putting that on you. Metal Forever says Jacob Fatu's entrance was a spectacle. Already one of the top entrances on SmackDown. Heyman desperately now needs either Punk or Roman to come save him from fearing for his life every Friday. So the only thing I think that isn't necessary in what you're saying is I don't think anyone's gonna have to protect Paul, given that he's not a superstar character. I don't know if you saw, I don't think they showed it on TV, but if you saw online, there were clips of him being removed on a stretcher. So I think they're going to sell this similarly to when they take someone away and they're going to be gone for a little while. I would have to guess that we aren't going to see Paul Heyman for a minute. But as for Jacob Fatu's entrance, I am completely with you. I think they've done a really good job with some of these Bloodline entrances. I think it's Tama Tonga that has a really cool one with all the flames. Solo Sikoa has always had a song that I feel like kind of hits. I think it's kind of a good song in general. But yeah, the whole the wolf thing he's got going on, everything on the Titantron to his attire. Yeah, Jacob Fatu is someone that I'm almost thinking I don't know if I want to look into him, because I kind of want to be surprised, but I also kind of really want to look into Jacob Fatu. Josh Mullins says, this segment was absolutely brilliant. The facials that Paul was giving in the extremely hot crowd made it 10 times better. They have executed this entire angle so well that once Roman returns, he will get a nuclear pop. I already threw the question to you guys. I'm curious where you believe that Roman falls into this, but I completely agree that this is setting up a situation where Roman Reigns could come back and be a heel, but be received like a face, very similar to the way Rhea Ripley is, where whenever she comes in, you know that her motivations are heel related, but Roman is going to get that similar massive pop and cheer whenever he shows back up. The question is, when is he going to show up? What exactly is it going to be that makes him feel like, all right, I need to step in? Kutchberg says, never in my almost 20 years of watching wrestling did I ever think Paul Heyman could be an endearing babyface. The return of Roman Reigns, the reuniting of the OG Bloodline, and maybe even Rock versus Roman, which could be at Mania 41, is going to hit like crack in the 80s. Okay, so I'm with you. I believe that WrestleMania 41 at this point is going to be Rock versus Roman, mostly because it seems like that's what they wanted for WrestleMania 40, and it kind of with the way this is building, it feels like you're going to get an opportunity for Rock Roman at WrestleMania 41. The reuniting of the OG Bloodline is where I'm also really excited, because like you said, Paul Heyman being an endearing babyface, and again, feeling like it was earned. It wasn't something that was just, they could have done that in 1 week and it wouldn't have felt the same. But the fact that we have been buying in on Paul Heyman before this moment, and buying in that we want him to be freed from the Bloodline 2.0, it just worked so well. So now the question is, who's next? Jimmy Uso is who I feel like is the logical next step. I don't feel like Jay is going to be a part of it anytime soon, because he's still doing main event Jay. I don't know how that would mix. I don't know how him getting involved with the Bloodline again would work with him when he hasn't won a title. He hasn't won the Money in the Bank. He hasn't done anything as main event Jay Uso to make it feel like he could walk away from, that push and work with the Bloodline. So I just don't know. I'm very curious how they're going to approach this. Sergio Salgado says, what made this really impactful for me is Heyman staying loyal to Roman in the face of danger, as it shows how much Roman means to him. In the past, at any sign of danger or lack of use, Paul wouldn't hesitate to turn on Brock, Punk, etc. So it's really nice to see his character develop. Yes, dude, Paul Heyman loves Roman Reigns. This isn't just a Roman is who can carry him, or he sees the most potential in him. This, from what I can tell, I have not seen his runs with Brock, in CM Punk. But comments like this and comments I've seen from others, it sounds like there wasn't a relationship there. Paul Heyman feels like he and Roman Reigns have a loving relationship, whereas CM Punk and Brock Lesnar were, I don't know, a meal ticket, for a lack of a better phrase, but that was what he could attach himself to find success. He saw potential in them, and you could make the argument that that's exactly how it started with Roman Reigns. But after all this time of defending the championship and all of the story development, especially the way the story's been told in the Triple H era, I feel like you've got a meaningful relationship here. And seeing someone like Paul Heyman, who probably would have always put his own safety first in every situation, put himself in a situation where he got spiked in the throat and thrown through a table. This is not the Paul Heyman that I feel like you guys knew with Punk and Brock. This is a Paul Heyman that genuinely loves Roman Reigns. Can you tell I'm passionate about this? I love this storyline. Norganji says Solo equals Roman, Tamatanga equals Jay, Tangaloa equals Jimmy, Jacob equals Solo. They are mirroring the new and evil bloodline with the old bloodline. Are you saying War Games? I feel like the way you're describing this, I do see an opportunity here for a Survivor Series War Games Civil War situation. My only question that I want to add on to that, and I want to throw this back to you if you see this video, or if anybody wants to answer this for that matter, what happens if you throw The Rock's name in that equation? Where, if I told you that you had to put The Rock in that scenario, where do those names move, and who do you add on Roman's side to counter that? Because at that point it becomes Roman versus Rock, right? I'm just curious. Let me know. James says, calling it right now, Roman Reigns for SummerSlam. Dude, I hope you're right. I'm gonna be there. I'm so excited for it. If there's any part of this story that involves Roman Reigns even coming back, even just for a moment at SummerSlam, I am all here for it. Vegas Viking says, Paul deserves an Emmy. I think you're right. I don't even know if they can do that, but I really think you're right. I've seen a lot of comments from you guys, both on Twitter and on YouTube, and I want to acknowledge it now before all the comments fill up with this detail, but it's fine. Put it down there. I think it's such a cool thing if this is true, but so many of you are saying, and I believe it is, that Paul apparently has been told, or he has said in previous interviews, that something that he does for moments like this to really help elevate it is he doesn't sleep like the night before, or I guess he just makes sure he goes into it completely exhausted. He also didn't shave. He really wanted to sell it. I guess that makes it easier for him to cry when he's that like tired. I don't know. I mean, he looked defeated. He looked dead in the face. So if that's something that he does to commit to the character, yeah, I don't know what a word you can give for a performance. I don't know if anyone has ever won an Oscar or an Emmy. I don't know which ones are for TV. For a television performance on WWE, but I think one of them goes right there. That's all I got for you guys in this one. Thank you so much to the patrons going up on the screen. I really hope you guys enjoyed the video. I thank you so much for watching it. I'll be down in the comments talking with you guys. I will see you there. Thank you for watching. I'll see you in the next one, guys.